Hey, hey, I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. Hey, I don't want no trouble. Get back. Get back. I got a rock. Get back. Get back. Get back. No. Hey, I don't want no trouble. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. I got a bat behind me. Oh, I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble. Get back. Get back. I tell you to get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Hey, I don't want no trouble. Get back. Get back. Get back. Hey, get back. I don't want any problems. Get back. Get back. Get back. Get back. Hey everybody, thanks for coming and viewing this video. Hey, if you happen to like it, hit that like button please, and hit the subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what you think about this topic and your experience with it. Anyway, what we're talking about today is the infamous 22 long rifle debate, if you can use it for self-defense. Is it viable, an option for self-defense? Recently, I was just looking at the little 22 that you see me shooting. I had been looking at them for a few months, one for my wife and one for myself, for carrying it for self-defense. Debated about it for a long time. Finally was able to get two of them, and I'm very happy with the purchase. Very happy with the firearm. We can talk about the firearm particularly later on in another video if y'all would like to hear about it. But anyway, this is just sharing some food for thought. I'm no firearms expert. I'm no ballistics expert. I know very little about ballistics. But I just thought I'd share you my take on this, and maybe you're in the market for a handgun and you're debating on a 22 or a rifle or whatever. Maybe this will help you narrow down if it's the correct choice for your particular situation. Anyway, so as you've seen in the clips before, there's other things that you can choose for self-defense. Might not be the most viable option, or the most not the best choice for the particular situation. But you've seen in there, you have a rock. I mean, if you look, it can be used in self-defense. I mean, if you look at read the Bible, the story of David and Goliath, David defeated a superior opponent, a larger opponent, with just a slingshot and a rock, because he was very proficient with its use, and then also he had the good Lord on his side. But I mean, a rock can definitely do it. You've seen the flashlight, the strobe light, sometimes just shining that light or disorienting your aggressor can stop the threat. A knife, a knife. Plenty of people has used knife for self-defense, and it is a viable option as well. A bat, now you see I pulled it out from my back. You're not going to be carrying around. I don't think you'll be carrying around a bat stuck in your waistline to pull it out, a little shorty bat. But then you see me pull the 22 pistol at the end, which was a very small, concealable, fired off 10 rounds. Is that a good choice for self-defense? Is it better than the other choices of it? Is there a better choice? Absolutely, there probably is. But it can be used for that particular purpose. Purpose. But in the old adage of something is better than nothing comes to mind. Now, when evaluating, I think when you're looking at the 22 long rifle ammunition, can it be used for self-defense? I think there needs to be numerous questions asked, and for the individual to answer those questions for themselves. But the bottom line is, I think a 22 is a very viable option to use for self-defense in a lot of different situations and scenarios. And I also believe it's not a viable option in certain scenarios. And I'll explain that as we go. Now, first and foremost, I think the most important thing to state, the most important thing to be aware of, the best self-defense is what? Is situational awareness and avoidance. That's situational awareness, knowing what's going on around you, and then trying to avoid any kind of problems that arise. And my wife, we live out in the country, and it takes about 30, 40 minutes to get into town. And she likes going shopping. And when she goes, I'm like, hey, when you get out of the car, before you get out of the car, before you unlock the doors, make sure you look and know exactly what route you're taking. Don't be on your phone. Don't be talking on your phone. Don't be texting on your phone. Don't be looking at your phone while you're getting in there. Pay attention on what's going around you. Leaving the area and leaving the car and coming back to the car. Make sure you're doing that. Pay attention to situational awareness. And like I said, I live out here in the country, so I myself and I also tell her, when you come outside, because we got coyotes, we got bobcats, we got stray dogs, you name it. Not that those animals are probably going to try and avoid you as much as you try to avoid them, but it still could be a problem. It still could be a self-defense situation against an animal. So you need to be aware of your surroundings. That's my point. Anyway, all those areas is another topic, another video. And so some of the things I believe that need to be answered before choosing this little round for self-defense is, what is the goal of your self-defense? What is your definition of self-defense? And I think it needs to be defined, not just not your definition, but also I think, what does the law, federal, state, city, your particular area, what do they define self-defense as? That's a very important thing to figure out. Second, what is your definition of self-defense? That needs to be addressed as well, in my opinion. Is it just to be able to? Is your self-defense? Are you just wanting to create enough space between you and whatever that aggressor is, whether it's a two-legged or a four-legged animal or a slithering animal? Are you just trying to create space to avoid it, to get away from it? Are you trying to repel that attacker, whatever that attacker is, a two-legged, four-legged, or slithering thing? Are you trying to immobilize the threat? Or are you trying to, break a leg, break a toe, just hurt it to make it run off? Are you trying to have it fall immediately to the ground? Or is the goal to kill? Depending on that answer, I think the question is, depending on how you answer it, that answer, I think, whether this is enough, you need that's the next question. For that particular goal, is this enough to accomplish that goal that you just defined, that you just answered? Other things you got to say, hey, if you have other options, is this the best choice? Or is another option the best choice? Is this your best choice? Or is a 9mm a best choice? Is a 45 ACP the best choice? Is a 30-30 the best choice? Again, it all depends. I think one of the things it depends on is the capability of the person. What do I mean by that? Well, the strength of the person, their strength, the weight of the gun, operating the slide, etc. So my hands are I wear extra large gloves, so I got big hands. Holding a larger framed firearm, say like a Glock 17, Glock 19, or 45 ACP 1911, fits very well in my hand. Smaller frame pistols, I can do those too. Now, my wife, on the other hand, she's only 5'1". She's small. Her hands aren't big. For her to grab a hold of a Glock 17 is just not ergonomical for her to do. And also, she has extreme difficulty trying to pull that slide back. So, if she ever had one to work the gun and pull the slide back, she has extreme difficulty doing that. Secondly, if there was ever a malfunction and she had to work through malfunction, she wouldn't be able to do that very efficiently. So those larger frame firearms aren't a good choice for her. Also, you got to think about, some people got ailments, arthritis. Maybe they've had surgery on their elbow, surgery on their shoulder. That recoil of a gun may affect them greatly. some people are like, well, 9mm doesn't recoil that much. A 380 doesn't recoil that much. For you, for me, but you got to evaluate that on an individual level. The individual has to answer that for themselves. Um, the proficiency of the person, how proficient are they with that particular firearm? And this all comes down to the next thing: affordability, budget. We're in difficult times now economically. Economically, what can a person afford? And training. How much training are you going to do with the firearm? Every firearm you need to have training, but it comes back to that budget. It comes back to that proficiency. Ammo's not cheap. Guns aren't cheap. Ammo's not cheap. The calibers, 9mm. I think you get a box of 9mm, 50 round box for a 9mm for maybe $15 and up. You know, and upwards. You get a brick of 22, 500 rounds of 22. I think they're about $30 now for 500 rounds of 22. So you can buy more ammunition and train more with the 22 than you can another one. Now I know you're going to say, well, you can get that with a 22 and then get that. We're talking about affordability. Some people don't want to go buy a 22 and a 9mm. They're just trying to look for one particular thing. So the training piece needs to be. You need to answer those questions. How are you going to train? How often are you going to train? How much is it going to cost you to train? So is this more of a viable option? Because I would much rather have a person with a 22 that has trained significantly amount of time, is very proficient with their weapon, their 22, versus a person that has only gone to the range with one 50-round box of 9mm and they've only gone every 6 months. I would much rather have that person with that 22 that knows how to clear malfunctions, has shot hundreds of rounds, have worked through drills, failure drills, etc. That's my point. If you choose this and you can do all the sufficient training, then this is going to be very effective for you. If you choose a larger caliber, you can handle the gun, you can handle the recoil, etc., but you never train with it. I'd much rather have the person that chose the smaller caliber and trains with it significantly. And then the risk. You have to evaluate the risk. You need to do a risk assessment. Is your self-defense scenario, the reason you're getting a firearm for self-defense, is it for a two-legged, a four-legged, how big, how small, etc. Your location, your activity, your attire. If you remember in the first clip when I was trying to pull out that flashlight, it was in my jacket pocket, but I was having a difficult time getting to that flashlight. Your attire. What are you going to be wearing? What's going to be concealable if you have to conceal the weapon? Are you going out and exercising? Are you going to carry? If you're my wife and I, we like to go up here in this town to the park and walk. Carrying a large frame gun up there, my risk of any kind of threat is very low. Maybe a dog, and so carrying that little 22 is perfect for up there. So, are you hunting, fishing? You go out there bow hunting. You're just carrying your bow, but you run against a slithering no-leg creature, rattlesnake. Are you going to shoot it with the bow, or would you much rather have a little 22 and shoot it with the 22, or just let it go and no avoidance? Or maybe you're fishing in Alaska, salmon fishing. Grizzlies like to eat salmon. Grizzlies will like to eat you as well. Will a 22 be viable for that? I don't think so. A 22 is not going to deter a bear whatsoever. So that is not a viable option. So that's why I say it all depends. You got to answer all these questions for yourself. Reliability and malfunctions. Every gun can malfunction. 22 or more susceptible to the malfunctions. So you need to train heavily. If you do decide to get a 22, train heavily with the 22 so you know how to clear those malfunctions. And we already talked about the affordability. And then, is the 22? A lot of people, when you say self defense, it's straight for a two legged threat. So if it is against that, um, I think it don't have any problem using a 22 to dispatch that. Now, is there certain instances, someone that's hyped up on a drug or something? Yes, probably. 22 may or may not stop them. A 9 miller may or may not stop them. A 45 may or may not stop them. The argument is always there. But something to consider is shot placement. Uh, I can give you several examples. Shot placement is key. An animal, a little squirrel, shot with a 22 in the hind leg, has run off. I've, on the other hand, I've shot hogs, 200-pound plus hogs, with a correct shot placement in the ear, and it dropped them on the spot. Now, if you shot that same 200-pound hog in the side, it's not going to phase that hog, chances are. But I've also seen it with larger calibers, shot placement. If you have a correct shot placement, that animal will drop there or run just a short distance and then expire. However, I've also seen animals get shot with a large caliber um, ammunition, and the shot placement was off. It hit the animal, but you never found that animal. So shot placement is key. As long as you got shot placement training, it can be very effective in your situation. Let me know what y'all think.